I like to call this one the state fair of the reservation because it all culminates right here end of August, right before school. Yeah, but it's just a come together thing for everybody to celebrate because we're hard summer or something like that. Good crops, and it's just a fun time. Everybody comes to have fun.
The annual Sundance used to take place like in July, when everything was ripe, and there was a lot of traditional Lakota culture based their lives on a hunting and gathering economy, and of course the gathering was picked from what grew wild, and middle of summer was pretty much the sort of like the picking season, so it was right during that time that they had the annual Sundance and the get-together.
I think the only reason why they did it at that time, they might have came back sometime around then. It was a time to come back and settle down because they like to migrate, They used to migrate all around, follow the buffalo and stuff, and then around fall time they come in and settle down in this area because around that time all the choke cherries are black and all the plums are getting red, and all these different things that they could, prepare for the winter. So it was like a harvest type.
The Rosebud Fair celebrates a rich heritage and culture. Included in that is the tradition of providing everyone with free meals for the duration of the festivities. Workers, participants, and visitors are all invited to partake in each of these public feeds. These meals date back to the very early days of these yearly gatherings, when people would assemble to hunt game and gather wild fruits. The Lakota believe they should share whatever they may have with their guests.
It's like being designated a chief. When you're designated a chief, you're required to feed the public. See? So all these people get together, and they're the ones that collect the food. They get the food, and they, it's a great honor to be designated, like for example, president of the powwow. And what you do is you use just not just your own family, immediate family, but you use your extended family. We consider a relationship with extended family, not just a nuclear family, but it goes out. So whenever, let's say, if I was elected president of the Rosebud Fair, it was my responsibility to feed the people, at least for one day. Okay, so I would save up for the year and get ready for it, and then gather all the food that is necessary to feed the people on that particular day.
Last year, our head cook he told us that the last bowl of meat, and vegetables, and soup that he scraped out of the bottom of the pot, it's pretty good sized meat, went to the last person in line. And so it was pretty amazing. And so this year, he said, it kind of scared me. He said, so this year I want to make sure I have more than that, in case somebody else decides to run in late or somebody wants more and comes back, or something. Yeah.
One item that there is always plenty of is fry bread. Because of the very basic nature of the recipe and the simple ingredients, fry bread is a staple at many gatherings. Not only is it filling, it's downright tasty.
Just flour, powdered milk, baking powder. Baking powder is the best kind of fry bread. They come out browner, bigger, and thicker, and that's what people like. Normally I use syrup, corn syrup, and that holds the flour together more. But in this case we have to use sugar because the health specialist comes around and checks our stuff. This afternoon I made at least 50, and in the evening times it's more. I usually make more because it's cooler and it's easier to work. Then it all depends how many people we have coming too. Here I've been trying to make the bread a little bit bigger so we can satisfy the people. I'm not the type, that makes those little bitty ones. I like the great big fry bread. Like a big air bubble. And you can lift it up and let it out and it'll brown even, but I usually like to leave it that way. When you put the taco stuff in there, it'll have like a little bowl. And we make Indian tacos, and that's where you put the hamburger, lettuce, and all the good stuff on there. And then you can just buy the fry bread by itself and put honey, and it tastes good.
Like many of the community celebrations around the state, the Rosebud Fair features carnival rides and midways. But to really appreciate the culture and the heritage of the fair, you need to head over to the powwow grounds. Here, visitors will have the opportunity to see the very heart of the fair. Throughout the event, the grounds are filled with dancers of all ages, each dancer sharing their spirit as they dance to the sound of the drums.
Spectators will have plenty of opportunity to watch these contest dances. And that's where it gives you an opportunity to see what different kinds of dances there are and different kinds of costumes. You know, if you have like the women have traditional dancers that have like beaded dress and lots of costume on, and they dance in one place, or kind of a slow traditional women's type of dance. And they also have what they call a shawl dance, where there's a lot of costume, but the women wear a shawl, and they do a little bit more fancy work when they're dancing, fancy footwork and a lot of body movement, So they have a category for that. So they have an opportunity to observe that, and see how that's done. And then there's another category for women that's called the jingle dress.
Each dress is adorned with hundreds of silver jingles, which are made from Copenhagen tops rolled into the shape of bells. One of the more popular categories is the traditional dance. It can be learned, but it really comes from inside.
And I always used to come here and watch the men, my uncles, my grandfathers dance. And it was always in me. I just didn't have no one actually to show me. When I came back from the service, I really yearned. And so they just told me basic steps, and the rest of it is your own style, but there's basic rules of keeping in time with the drum. There's honor beats. You'll notice them when they're singing, they'll hit the drum hard while the rest are drumming light. The lead singer will hit the drum 4 times real hard, maybe 6. And they're usually, the men traditional dancers will go down, symbolic to be like a sneak up, or they call it kuchila. Get down low because you're sneaking up on the enemy.
The highlight of each performance comes when the fancy dancers take to the ring. Each contestant creates their own routine and throws their entire body into the dance.
Our elders, long time ago, the younger generation was pretty energetic and they get kind of bored with the traditional dance, so they came up with a thing called Crazy Man's Dance. So that's more or less what this is, modern day dance. A lot of them have their own tribal colors. A lot of them just start putting regalias together and they come up with their own unique designs and colors and everything. Mine, I sat down one day and started doing my beadwork, and there's a little bit of orange in here, so I wanted to highlight the orange in my beadwork, so I come up with a lot of orange and white. To me, it's a really spiritual thing, even though it's a modern day dance, but still real spiritual to me. It comes from my heart. I'm dancing for all my veterans that fought so that we can be free today, and especially my brothers and sisters and my family that's not able to come out and dance today. My ancestors also.
When you come to the Rosebud Fair, bring an open heart and a willingness to learn about a people whose culture defines their lives.
There's a lot of misconception about Indian people in the United States. Some of them, even the East Coast, think we still live in teepees and all that. And we just invite them here to learn about us. Everybody's learning every day, and if they want to come down, sure, they're welcome. Half of Sioux Falls wants to come, sure, we'll find a place for you. It's just that, like I say, the way I am, I enjoy people. I want everybody to be together as one. And this is the friendliest place to do it too, to hear our power.